2022 Back Pocket Video Game Awards for Excellence in Video Games in games that came out in 2022. As voted on by us, the host, the 2022 Back Pocket Video Game Awards for Excellence in Video Games that were games that came out in 2022. I'm Nick.
I'm Steph.
Gus. Yep.
And today we say au revoir, Shoshana, to video games of 2022, and bonjour, bienvenue to the games of 2023, because we're looking forward to our most anticipated 2023 titles.
That's a bingo.
That is a bingo.
Slurp some milk.
If I was a professional, I would look up what we were anticipating
Last year.
like this time last year, to see how that held up.
Do you want to do that?
I could very
Pause.
quickly look. Pause. You all pause.
Wait, is there a list or are we looking at the video?
I think
there
the
should be a
script
list.
from last
Yeah.
year is there.
Well,
Interview Vids 2021. Okay.
we back roll?
All right. Here we go. Oh, we should have done this for each one. We'll do it going forward. Okay. Biggest surprise.
This is like the Billie Eilish interview.
Favorite gameplay mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay. Most anticipated games. Gus.
Yep.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Guess what my number one is?
Splatoon 3. Oh yeah. It was fine.
It's fine. It's more of the same.
Sifu.
Ooh, swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Roundhouse kick and a miss for me.
Yeah. Only 85 out of 100 that game.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Bit advanced.
Ooh.
Yes.
Elden Ring.
Oh, that was
Good
a good.
choice.
That was a good
That
bet.
was a good one. Starfield.
That didn't come out.
Cyberpunk 2077 DLC.
That didn't come out.
Stephanie Ben Dixon.
Mhm.
Horizon Forbidden West. Redfall.
I'm still holding a candle for you, Redfall.
Destiny 2 The Witch Queen.
Lived up to all expectations and exceeded them.
Mine was the only list of games that all came out.
Yeah, right. Oh, you've never.
Mario plus Rapid Sparks of Hope.
Oh, yeah, good.
Bang. Plague Tale Requiem.
Grow up.
Weird West.
Yeah.
West was pretty good.
Peter.
Yes, sir. The first one on my list is Diablo 4. Diablo 4.
Nice.
Which is a little bit, it's a stab in the dark. It is a bit of a stab in the dark, which is a weird thing to say about a... Sorry?
It's a dark-looking game?
It's a dark looking game. It's a weird thing to say about a Blizzard Diablo game that it could be a big miss. But I think after Immortal, which had great gameplay and just a horrible exploitative monetary system and progress system, there's a little bit of concern about how they're looking at Diablo as a franchise in terms of what they want to do with it. They re-released Diablo 2 Remaster this year, which I played and really enjoyed. The Warcraft 3 Remaster was a fucking blunder and another exploitative shop. So I really hope that they just get it right.
Do you think the Microsoft acquisition will steer it in a better direction?
No, I don't think that'll have any sway over it at the
They
moment.
won't have time.
Yeah.
They legally cannot do... Microsoft cannot offer any input to any Activision title until they own it now.
Yeah.
They cannot have anything.
Okay.
Without
So-
speculating on all the nuts and bolts within the game, on a surface level, the last two kind of things we've seen of the game was a very sexy, full CG trailer, that blood sacrifice trailer. That was Diablo, wasn't it? In the temple, where the person stabs a sword and all the blood goes everywhere and turns into a big blood monster.
Yeah,
That was cool.
Something
And
like
then
that.
there was a bit of a
huge gameplay
There was a gameplay
thing.
kind of thing. What is that? That's the last thing I'd say. Is did that
The
whet your
gameplay, the
appetite?
gameplay is what got me excited about
Yeah,
it.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
it looks awesome.
Don't you reckon that... Because I agree, who knows how they want to monetize this? Because they will.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be buy the game.
Yeah.
But it seems prime for a battle pass. Diablo seems like Diablo is all about just grinding, playing the same shit over and over again and seeing that number go up. And a battle pass that has some cosmetics, some weapon stuff, some titles.
Have we seen a battle pass in that kind of game before, though? It doesn't seem like it would fit.
Well, do you remove it from the actual core gameplay, which is the fun of grinding the mobs for gear versus
Yeah.
suddenly put it in a menu?
Because
or put it in some
the kind of
Well, I think
you're
if it was
adding-
all cosmetic,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah,
and the grinding is complete X amount of heroic dungeons or whatever.
And-
If it's all cosmetic, yeah, totally.
Yeah. And
Because
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the joy of that game for me is like it is so, and what Blizzard does so well is it plays into that very dopamine, gold, sparkly,
shiny.
chinkly sound of every time you kill something and grabbing the loot and like and scooping it all up and all that kind of stuff. And you don't want to suck the joy out of
But
that aspect
that's
of
why
it.
I think that it's super easy to just tie rewards to X amount of times you did that thing.
Yeah. Experience, play, X amount of time spent in the game.
Yes,
Sure,
yeah,
yeah.
totally, yeah.
Okay.
So you just basically tie to that as
Yeah.
opposed to the real money auction house or the like all the fucking
Yeah.
disasters that they've put in the
Yeah.
thing so far.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
such
yeah.
And they had the
turn
battle
up that
pass
stuff.
in Immortal, and it totally worked great, except for the fact that they also wanted a $10,000 of your money for other things. So,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, exciting.
Gus,
Like we joked, the Legend of Zelda. It's not called Breath of the Wild 2. It's Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
So it's
Tears of
the
the
Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. We got a gameplay trailer earlier this year that showed off a bit more of it. I am just as excited about it because it's.
you sound so excited.
I'm just tired now.
He doesn't want to get his hopes up.
I'm just so
I get
tired.
it. I get it.
But I mean, what we saw looked cool. It looks like more Breath of the Wild at its core, but with a whole new idea of this sort of sky city and a glider that you can get around on. I mean, that's all that these games can really do to iterate is like take what worked in the last one, add a new traversal method and some new fun locations to visit.
But don't, when we grew up with the 64 Zeldas. Well, I guess we played the SNES ones and stuff, but and Game Boy. But the jump from the pairing of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask must be the single best pairing of video games in a generation of consoles ever.
In terms of taking a big turn.
They're so different. And they're so brilliant in their own ways.
Yeah.
And that's my only disappointment with the look of this sequel is that it just looks like it's added a couple of features and not done something
Transformative.
But that remains to be seen.
I mean, I guess Breath of the Wild's gimmick, if you want to call it, I wouldn't call it that, but is just like stripping it bare and making it this open world that you got to really do the whole proper, I'm going into a field to explore vibe. Whereas here, hopefully they do something quite revolutionary and going, here's a core mechanic that changes how you explore this world and how you play this Zelda because, that's what Majora's Mask did. It completely flipped on its head. I didn't really see that in the trailer, but I'm holding out hope that there is something there.
They could just be being very conservative with what the game.
And I mean, the only
gonna
other
give you.
thing is that, again, we are getting so to the end of the Switch's life. And Breath of the Wild looks great and performs really well. So hopefully...
And was the first game
was
on
the
the
first
Switch.
game out on it.
Yeah.
This might be its swan song as it goes out, and if they're using the same engine, I'm sure it can perform just as well as the previous game did. But my God, it's just ready. Like, for this game to be as epic as it needs to be to stand alongside Breath of the Wild, it really needs some grunt. So I hope it doesn't fall short there, but I'm still excited. And I hope it comes out.
Stephanie, when are you looking forward to being disappointed to be pushed to 2024?
No, Redfall.
No.
It's coming out.
It's coming out.
and it's gonna be great, you guys.
And it's in like February, I think?
Yeah. And I'm particularly excited for it now because the gameplay trailer that we saw versus the initial look that we had of it is quite different.
Massively.
It was like, is this the same game?
Yeah.
Kind of different. And so I'm kind of curious to see how those two things will kind of marry together, or if part of the reason why it was delayed is because they kind of took a turn with it and was like, we want to make this a little bit grittier. We want to make it more of an FPS kind of experience. I don't feel one way or another in terms of like I want it to be something specific. I just want a stylish multiplayer game that will be fun to play with my friends with that signature Arcane pizzazz. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I really hope it delivers.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I'm keen as I think it looks like it's gonna do what Back for Blood kind of failed to do, which is be that kind of game but with a modern.
Well, I think Back for Blood is really, and like a lot of zombie games are built around kind of horde waves of enemies, and I don't think this will be that.
Yeah, no, I guess more about cooperative level-based stuff in a modern sensibility. It doesn't need wave stuff. Like we've been playing a bit of Dark Tide and stuff, and the wave stuff is the least interesting part about that. It is combating specials.
Yeah.
And I think the
and the
way to-
specifics of each class.
yeah. So I think working with a team to take down special enemies is interesting.
Especially because some of the abilities that we saw in that initial trailer looked really cool. That kind of, but it was hard to say
Ghost lift.
In the
because
cinematic
it was a
trailer?
cinematic
Yeah.
trailer. It was hard to know if these were like class specific abilities or it was just a function of the game that had been stylized for the cinematic trailer. But from my perspective, it looked like all the classes would play quite differently, and there'd be really cool abilities that you could use to kind of help your team get out of a bind. And it's that kind of stuff that I'm excited about. That's the kind of cooperative class-based, action that I think is really, really fun.
Yeah, cool. I think it's probably, out of everything on the list, the first thing to come out as well. So, yeah. All right. Game number 1 on Nick's 2023 most anticipated games, aka the Hollow Knight Silksong Memorial list. I feel your pain.
Rip.
Alan Wake 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh, baby.
Give it. Give me Alan Wake 2.
We've only had an announcement for that, right? There hasn't been much more than an
There was
announcement.
like an Uncanny Valley trailer. It was like, was that a real actor or was that CG?
right,
That
yeah.
guy face that
That's
kind of
right.
stepped into a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Super, super, super excited for this.
Is that slated for release next
Yes.
year?
Yeah.
It might get bumped.
I think it might get pushed.
it
It
probably
feels like the
will
one
get
that would
pushed because it's like they've just gone totally quiet.
Yeah.
But it is technically coming out in 2023 as of now. Yeah, loved the first Alan Wake. Love me some atmosphere.
Has it been long enough for it to be a somewhat of a reboot? Do we think?
I think so.
That's what I'm curious about. Is it
Yeah.
another adventure in the stories of Alan Wake, or is it let's go back and redesign this and?
Well, there's only really been 1.5 adventures. In
That's
the
what
stories of Alan
yeah.
Wake, so
Yeah.
I think that
Not too far to go back to make it again.
I think that I feel like there's probably just a lot of untapped potential in what they were trying to do in the first place.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
yeah.
We've seen light mechanics used a lot in games since Alan Wake,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see how they interpret that for like modern sensibilities
Yep.
and
It's walking around with a phone torch.
yeah,
Ooh.
and like the episodic nature, like the sort of
yeah.
it was kind of like the TV show thing. I think I feel like, judging from that reveal thing, it might be leaning more into like psychological horror, even more than the
Yeah.
first one
Yeah,
was. It
right.
might,
Yeah.
again, like I'm not a Silent Hill aficionado, but a Silent Hill style vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it might even do away with the pretense of being a third-person action game at any point and become more Quarry-esque or
Maybe
Dark Pictures-y in how
Totally.
it does its storytelling. Because the strong points of that game were the storytelling and
Yeah.
the way that it utilized the tech of the time
So true.
to do a light-based game.
Yeah.
But also, as you said, like how it moving into something like a Quarry, or that it could play off the idea of he structures narratives as an author, and that was kind of some of the fun in Alan Wake was his writing style playing into the horror. So yeah, if there's something that plays off that and plays into the scenes being done in a more cinematic sense than a third-person action game, I think it would totally fit.
And also loved Control, and so
Yeah, I was
they-
gonna say-
still got it.
Yep.
Still
Yeah.
got it.
Yep.
Peter, game number 2.
Game number 2 for me is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Survivors? Survivor?
Survivor.
Just the one.
Well,
Poor
survivors
guy. So
are
lonely.
just everyone. They all made it.
Jedi Survivors?
Yeah,
Did they survive the Jedi, or is it a Jedi that survived?
Ooh.
Order 7076.
it's the Jedi's that survived. For
Just
sure.
the one, though. That's sad. So lonely. We're recording this before the big press event that is, as we're talking right now, I think 24 hours from now.
Right.
A big press event for, this is Jedi
really?
Survivor. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, cool.
So unfortunately,
Before the Game Awards or as part of the Game Awards?
or maybe it's part of the Game
Yeah,
Awards.
okay,
cool. But it is, so all we really know at the moment is some stills we've seen and the fact that it's coming. Cal has a pistol now.
Yep.
Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis, which is cool.
I finished the first one. I fucking loved
It's
it.
great.
I really
it's
loved
really
it.
good.
It was really good.
And it was one of those things that, like we always talk about with like a Senua or a Plague's Tale of like,
It was a
this
proof
is
of
a good
concept.
proof of concept,
Yep.
but with EA money.
Yeah.
So it was like really polished.
So it still felt like a finished game when
Yeah.
you got to the credits, but to go like
It was like Mass Effect 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. It felt like it had a lot of money and a really polished kind of finish, but it was
they had more
in terms of
ideas.
like they
You
had
could
way
feel it.
more ideas and
Yeah.
they didn't go too big with their scope, which made it successful. Maybe they'll go stretch too far with the next one, but I'm excited to see what they do
totally.
with that base because I think it was maybe a little bit like of a linear experience. Which I'm not saying that everything needs to be open
There was,
world.
there was a
but
bit of backtracking that I didn't like. You went going back to the same worlds and
thought
going back through the same
yeah,
areas.
I thought it was- I thought it was-
Yeah, that was really annoying.
Yeah, the
and
map was
and I'm bad at
perfect
navigating
linear-
at the best of times.
Perfect linear with just enough broken off paths. I
Yeah.
really liked how it wasn't so direct. It just had enough.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's one planet that was a bit shit, sorry, island. But it's like there was
Yeah, there was
ways
one that
of-
we had to keep going back to that I was like, no, I don't want to go back to that one.
yeah, I think maybe that's what.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe that's. I don't want it to be. I definitely don't want it to be an open world game just because everything's an open world game now.
Yeah.
I think I just maybe want it to follow its story a little more like an Uncharted would.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
still
yeah.
have a combat system and a diversity of combat that is better than Uncharted can offer.
But I feel like even Tomb Raider like allows you to kind of fast travel between campsites and stuff, but you don't really ever feel like you're retreading old ground so much. I think because they do a good job of creating open worldy environments that are still linear but feel open worldy.
yeah.
Whereas I feel like these were because a lot of it is like spaceship tunnels and stuff like that, going through these little cat track areas and the
Or
slippery
the
slides
ice
and
cave
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
It
that all
feels like-
felt really tunnely and annoying to have to go through those
you're right.
areas.
In my mind, the Tomb Raider world is a map, and in my mind, those things are levels that I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that Star Wars game.
And I think part of the thing, and you're right that it was like an experimentation. It was like, okay, what if we made a Star Wars game, but we sprinkled in some Metroidvania stuff and some Dark Souls stuff,
Yep.
and some RPG stuff, and just sort of see what happens.
Yeah.
And then the things, hopefully, they go, these are the things that worked from this. This is what we're going to double down on now, and make it
refine it.
more focused, because you got the people in who were like, I just want to be a Star Wars. And it's like, okay, cool. Now you know like that we
Yeah.
can make something fun. We're actually going to make a more hardcore, not hardcore, but you know what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like something different than what you would necessarily expect from a Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How embarrassing that in 24 hours we find out it's a card game.
Totally. Well, I was thinking, like, because the fucking Game Awards are on, there's going to be a bunch of stuff announced that would be probably on a couple of our lists
That's
today
true.
of
That's
like
true.
games. Yeah. So, you know, like.
And remember the bad
Keep
guy?
cool, Kelly.
Remember the bad guy on the desert planet with the who took his big cape off and was ripped and had like 2 lightsabers? On like he was like a priest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Liam, my mate.
That was a tough fight.
Hey.
Yeah, that was my mate in LA who does voice work.
Really?
Yeah, I was playing it. I'm like, I know his voice.
I swore very heavily at him.
no.
Yeah,
I'll
that was
let him
a tough
know.
fight.
I swore at the guy at the top of the tree. Guy at the top of the tree was a real.
Oh, that was a big.
Oh, yeah, that's
That was like a
big
total-
angry alien with.
Yeah. that was a massive skill check of just like, yeah, you
Yep.
did not collect enough
Yep.
of the whatever the fuck you needed to collect.
Yeah.
Gus, game number 2.
Game number 2 for me is Atomic Heart. A game that I was originally shown back in the day when it first got a pre-release trailer by Good Games Joe Gog, who was like, "You're gonna love this," and showed me
is
this
this
trailer.
game?
Have you not seen Atomic Heart stuff? Holy crap!
I
man,
have,
you're
but
gonna
like
love it.
4 years ago.
Well, it's closer to release now, and basically it is this Bioshock kind of Doom style shooter that looks like it's set in sort of a quasi dystopian robot fight. It has the most amazing polished graphics in a trailer.
I don't
but it's
remember
twisted
this at all. This looks amazing.
Never seen this in my
Are you
life.
serious? Oh, okay. It's been picking up little bits of traction on and on.
Who's developing it?
I believe something like Jump Splash Fish.
Mundfish.
Oh, Jump Splash Fish. Yeah. Oh, God.
Was that
It's all coming back.
Fish.
They've got developers scattered everywhere, but I think they're a Russian developer,
Yep.
and there's a lot of like sort of alternate future vibes to the whole thing of like, you know, during the Cold War if things went differently and that kind of vibe.
Metro
clowns
Metro 2033.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's that with a bit of Bioshock. Altruistic future where everything went
Yeah,
right
okay.
and then went wrong again. It's like all the robot servants and everything. and it's-
Utopian future. That,
Yeah.
Gone wrong.
Yeah, cool.
So it looked. Some of the early trailers looked literally unbelievable. You look at it and go, that can't be right.
Yeah.
Graphics can't
Yeah.
look like that. Like it looked
I do
unbelievable.
not believe you.
Honestly, that was
it was
kind
like
of the reaction.
throwing Geiger counters into swamps or
No,
something.
but did
It was-
they get caught? Did they get caught in the console jump then?
No, I think it's just been paired back to a game that actually can be released now, and it still looks phenomenal, and it looks disturbing and incredible action, and yeah, very Bioshocky. So yeah, I think for the people who've been just quietly checking out on that on the side,
And it's been given a release date for next year?
I believe so.
Has it been given release dates prior?
I'll go back to you on that one. No, I don't think so. I think they finally said it's coming out in 2023, like all my games that I've picked, and I can't wait to play it.
It is planned for release on February 21st, 2023.
Yeah, that's soon.
Wow,
God.
February. Oh, February game is Christmas.
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They should really put some of those games out more towards Christmas.
That makes sense.
Steph, game number 2.
Game number 2 for me is, of course, Destiny 2 Lightfall. I was so excited for Witch Queen, and it
Did
was
you
just
say Redfall and Lightfall?
yes. Yes, I did. And it was just everything I wanted and more. And this is going to be so much more spectacular because not only are we getting access to a whole new world, a very urban world that is quite different from a lot of the areas that we've been in Destiny for a long time, but we're getting this cool new grapple system, which, you know, after Halo, I'm very excited about. Yeah. And I'm curious to see like how free they're going to be with it. How are we going to be able to grapple to each other's faces?
Skyhook.
Is it going to make
basically what it was?
Is it going to make your raid puzzles even harder now?
Of course.
Okay.
But like, I would be disappointed if they didn't.
I would be worried that it's going to make it too easy.
I need to be able to earn my Palladium boots.
So you can earn them and then go.
You walk into a raid and you walk through a sort of
green
blue
wall.
and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
your grapple doesn't work here.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Does everything else work?
Yeah. That's my biggest thing is how will they kryptonite the grapple to be able to make the game still playable in every situation.
My understanding of it is you can grapple on literally anything because it goes into a different dimension to pull you forward. So,
oh, wow.
Like Ratchet and Clank.
Grapple
It's almost not worth including a grapple at all unless you can do that, because then it just becomes this really finicky, annoying thing.
No, I'm with Steph on this one. Like Spider-Man me. Just go snink and it attached to something.
Because everything it's
Snick? No, that's Wolverine.
It's
Everything about what's fun about grappling is being able to develop momentum of movement. And so when you hamper that too much, then it becomes super unfun and annoying. So I feel like you need to be able to strike that balance really well. And I can't imagine that they would be introducing it if it wasn't perfect.
There's nothing broken in Destiny.
No.
Never made
Punchy.
Super excited for that as well.
It's gonna be so, and also just the whole like neon vibe. It's gonna be aesthetic as fuck.
on,
Oh
gimme,
god, it's gonna be so fucking cool. It's gonna be sick music.
Steph, I'm going to play this with you. More so than the Snow Planet.
I'll see you on the battle bus.
You may not get that joke depending on when these videos
None of
come
these
out.
callbacks.
That feels like it needs to be like a GIF though.
Yeah. For whenever someone just lies to your face.
Yeah.
My second most anticipated game, Lies of P.
Ooh.
So
Nice.
It's the era of Pinocchio.
bit worried about this one.
That's such a Nick game title.
It is, yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know what it's about. It
Yep.
tells me nothing.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about this one. What do you want?
Do you know what the P stands for?
Penis. And they do lie all the time.
It's Pinocchio.
It's Dark Souls Pinocchio.
Yeah. Legit. Like you're fighting evil Japan.
I mean,
Steampunk
to be
Dark
fair,
Souls
Pinocchio is like a very Dark Soulsy boss. You know,
You don't fight Pinocchio.
No, but just the concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
it's a
totally.
weird wooden toy with a big long nose.
Yeah.
Like that's something you would see in Dark
fairy
Souls.
tale.
You know,
And so they've like turned it into
it's
a
like,
Dark
oh, it
Souls
could be
game.
cute, but you've made it fucking disgusting. Great,
You know what,
thanks.
You know what he has on his face?
From
A
software.
Pentiment finger. So,
yes.
I'm excited about this. I'm a little hesitant because... So the reason I'm excited is they won't make it Bloodborne 2. Despite all my letters, nothing has happened so far.
Written in blood.
Well, unfortunately,
so
not written in
nicely.
Japanese, and I think that's where I'm falling over.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make it, so we need to rely on other developers to do this. Lots of Bloodborne-esque games come out, and they just never hit the spot. Like, most Souls-likes never hit the spot. I don't know what it is. You just can't do it. Stop trying. Because you get everyone's hopes up, and then it's just like... All right.
Remember Mortal Shell?
Totally.
Remember-
like, it's all this...
The one where you were all dirt. Oh, that was Mortal Shell, wasn't it? You were like a dirt metal man.
Yeah, I think it was Mortal Shell.
Dirt metal man.
Yeah.
Remember The Surge?
Remember
The
Salt and
and
Surge.
The
Sanctuary?
Surge 2? But I love the aesthetic and the vibe of this because it has an aesthetic and a vibe. And a lot of
Yes.
time those other ones are like, hey, we kind of made it look like Dark Souls. And this one's like, we kind of made it look like Dark Souls, but Pinocchio. And I'm like, okay, that's a thing.
And there is Bloodborne-iness in the way that there was the doll character in Bloodborne in the garden that sat there, and she was like a mannequin made out of wood that would sort of had a bonnet, and it fits that same
That's
kind
the
of.
link he's looking for, that doll character. That's what
Yeah,
he wants
that
to.
NPC that sits. That's
Yeah.
why I'm really playing. It looks like it has some aggressive gameplay like Bloodborne, which is, what differentiated that game from a lot of the other Souls games. And I really hope it's good. I'm worried that it's going to be a 7, and I need it to be a 9. But I'll take what I can get at this point because I'm not getting it from. It's game number 2.
Not getting it from. You only got one of the biggest games they've ever made.
You only got
I only
some-
got
some
spoilers.
from.
The back pocket game of the year, 100%.
We don't know when this video is running, but that's pretty much it.
We haven't even made that video yet, but we know that to be true. Peter Burns.
Yes, my third game was, goddammit, Dead Island 2.
Oh,
Is that slated for next year?
It is slated for
little
next
twisty
year.
twist?
Wow.
Dead Island 2.
Weird.
It got delayed again after the last thing they put out.
Which was the new announcement trailer
Yeah.
with the new protagonist and like the LA flat guy
Yes.
going out.
But I'm pretty sure it's now late 23. I didn't double check that.
Oh,
It was on that list, the big list, but I'm pretty sure it is.
What excites you about Dead Island 2?
So, none of what they've shown so far, but I think
3rd of February, 2023.
Oh, awesome.
February!
Cool.
Games
February.
Christmas.
Games Christmas.
That might be the first game to come out of all our games this year. I wanted Dying Light 2 to
I was
work.
gonna say it's gonna be the solve for what Dying Light didn't do. Like,
Yeah.
the seriousness that it took itself.
I forgot that came out.
Everyone
Yeah.
did. It was so.
I just had a moment,
It took
was
so
this
a
long.
year.
flash
to
of
come
me
out.
climbing up over a corrugated iron ledge,
Yep.
and I was like, Dying Light 2.
Dying Light 2?
It took itself so
Oh,
seriously,
yeah.
and that's
Sucks
what the
hard.
Dead Island games don't do. Or
Yeah. That first one didn't. All of the media about Dead Island 2 since that initial trailer running along Santa Monica Boulevard and
that's good.
yeah, so amazing. But there's no real reason for me to anticipate it as one of my 3 big exciting things coming next year, other than just hope. Hope that it captures something that the games that of that era, it is a game from an old era, but trying to modernize just the zombie muckabout thing.
Yeah,
we saw, Dead Risings. There was a million Dead Rising games, and they were all fucking fun in their own way. The Dying Light was fun in its own way, and Dead Island was its own thing. And I really want something like that to work again. And it's co-op, which I think will
my
help it.
memory of Dead Island was like co-op shenanigans, just
Yep.
running over zombies in cars
It's a bit of that. There was a lot of it was melee
and,
focused.
looking through suitcases.
Not cars, carts.
Carts. That's
Yeah,
right.
It's
a
like
lot of melee, a lot
golf
of running
buggies.
into
Yeah.
the background of people's cutscenes in co-op,
Yeah.
like wonking out.
That's
sort of
right.
vibes.
Zombies. For me, it's important to remember that zombies are a comedy tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that in video games, I kind of always want zombies to be, there are way too many of them, and you are very overpowered against them, not they're everywhere and you're vulnerable and you could be swarmed at any moment. Like the
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising.
Yeah.
Is a bit like I
They're the
want to
most
just
fun I've had
run
with
a
zombies.
lawnmower over a bunch of
Sure,
zombies.
I would say that
I want to turn zombies into little plants.
Dead Island at least started the game. You were naked on an island, so to speak. You were there. You were like, you didn't have much, and 1 or 2 zombies were a bit confronting. And you'd go down to like, a public toilet near the pool to get something out of the briefcase, and there'd be one stumbling out. You're like, oh fuck, I'm getting out of here. You'd catch one friend running out, going and then it did a good progression. As you moved on and powered up, you suddenly felt overpowered. So I think Dead Island's one of the games or one of the series that had that as a fun progression.
Yeah.
And I hope they do that again
Yeah.
because,
I just wanted to feel a little bit bigger than the first one, which
Yeah.
it should do. Because the first one, I felt like I was on little roads in a resort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's all I couldn't
and-
jump over the hedges either side
It
of
was a
it.
tiny
And it
planet.
was radio messages from another side of the resort that you have to try and get from one to the other. And yeah.
Gus.
The third game I am looking forward to next year is the Resi 4 remake. So they announced this a couple of months ago, or they showed some gameplay of it a couple of months ago. And this is a ground-up rebuild in the same style that they have done the remake of 2 and 3. Which is, it's still third person, and it is still the same, Leon going to that part of Europe to save the president's daughter, all the stupid stuff from the actual original game.
Is he a bad enough dude?
He's such a bad dude. But I do appreciate that there's been a lot of side-by-sides of here's what it looked like. Because 4 got so many, remakes, it got ported to everything. It's next to Skyrim, it's probably the most ported game. And in all of those, it was still the exact same level structure. It was still the same enemy placement, puzzles, all that kind of thing. Whereas I think what I can tell from the side-by-sides here is they are doing it's a remake, and they are going to change more than 50% of every part of every encounter, of every level structure. It's all going to feel like you're playing the same game, but you are going to be playing a new experience by the looks of it.
Capcom are doing such good work.
They're really doing... And I mean, Village, we got the first-person style of... Sorry, Resi 8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was Village.
Yep.
Felt like Resi 4 in terms of European setting and town full of monsters.
Yeah.
But I think going back to this one and recreating the infection with all the sort of the crazy parasite infection and all the strange story beats that it had to be such a good game, because no one else has finished 4, have they?
No.
It's really a tremendous game from start to finish. It deserves its place up there. And so I think it can only get better, and they've been doing such a good job of going back to their previous games. The Resi 2 remake was fantastic. I never finished it, but I enjoyed all the police station stuff before I left.
They're doing a really good job of going, what was special about this?
Yeah.
What was special about this that we couldn't achieve? And what could make this better? And they seem to have found that balance really well.
And considering how many times they ported 4, I went back, I think it was last year, to play a bit of 4.
The VR.
No, the VR one apparently is fucking amazing.
I thought you played a bit of that.
You
No,
definitely
I've
played
never played it.
One of us did.
I haven't touched it.
No?
I don't have a Quest 2. I've only got a Quest 1. I can't run it.
Okay.
Apparently that's great.
You can have a question.
Yay! I went back and tried to play Resi 4 on PC before Village and you guys were so uninterested. Go back, watch the clip. And it was so...
Do you watch this stuff?
I just remember it.
Yeah.
And it just did not hold up, even when I tried to future-proof it on a PC with better graphics and better controls. You can't play 4 anymore. It's just too old.
You can't go home again.
You can't go home again. So this will hopefully fix that.
Cool.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for this as well.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Never really played it much, so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ben Dixon.
The third game that I'm so excited about is Baldur's Gate 3, which has a release date for 2023. And
Just double check that.
my God, I hope it comes out. Because the last time, when I played their open...
February 3rd. No.
What?
When I played their open beta or
Yeah.
public test, whatever it was called, they were just like, we have no idea when this will be ready. We're just going to put it out there and just keep working on it,
Yeah.
which was super unpromising. It just seemed like it wasn't going to come out in the next 6 years. But it was awesome. I love Larian Studios. I love Divinity Original Sin 2, but I never got to finish it because it was such a massive game. And I sort of restarted it a number of times with different groups of friends and stuff. And in the end, once Baldur's Gate 3 was in motion, I was like, I feel like I just need to wait for Baldur's Gate 3, start it and finish it. I jumped into the public test, and it was so awesome narratively and visually that I had to stop myself from playing it because I was like, I don't want to burn out on this
Totally.
opening sequence so that I get frustrated with having to replay it when it comes out.
The Divinity Original Sin 2? Probably.
Yeah, totally. And I love everything about my character. I love oh my gosh, all of the character relationships are really cool. There's some cool kinky shit in there. It's sick. The only thing that was problematic that I think they have been addressing, which is great because they've been really open about their sort of feedback process, was that what I think is a core part of RPGs, particularly narrative RPGs, is that you need to be able to gain experience from multiple different choices. So if you choose the combat route, you gain experience.
Oh,
but in
right,
this,
'cause you
if
kill
you
stuff.
manage to
Yeah.
talk your way out of it by using charisma and other stuff, it was like
You didn't engage.
you avoided
And some of
the
kinky
fight,
shit is the other
but
stuff,
then
the kinky
we
shit.
got yeah. So then when we got to the part
That
to progress,
sucks,
it was like
yeah.
you're not high enough level, and I was like, oh shit, what do I need to do?
You want me to fight?
Go back and kill shit, and I was like, that sucks because it's like it should be about there's multiple different ways to play, and
Yeah.
You
leaning
get
into
rewarded
my
for the one you
character,
choose.
is that I disengage fights and
Totally.
and in certain situations, and they totally were like, holy shit, like that's a totally valid point. We're going to rejig the whole system
great.
and we're going back to the drawing board where that's concerned. So
Cool.
I haven't been back since to see if that's been fixed or whatever, because I don't want to kind of keep playing it. But I'm really hoping that the story will be able to shine through all of that gameplay sort of, fiddly techie stuff that is difficult to balance. Because the story I'm already so intrigued by.
Yeah, awesome.
This whole idea, you have the premise of it is that you kind of spawn in with a kind of a parasite in your brain, and it's making you see things, and you're aware of it, and there's other people in the world that have these parasites, but you kind of have to navigate how you have a relationship with
was a
this
bit Lovecraftian,
parasite.
wasn't it?
Yeah. The race that were kind of like invading
Did we make a
via
character
parasite.
in that? Was that this? No, that was
I
something
don't
else.
think we talk about that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we talked
I don't
about
think we
that.
talk
though.
about
I think
that.
it was
Baldur's Gate 3?
Baldur's
I think
Gate
we
3.
all
I'm
just
pretty sure
forget
it's
about that.
Baldur's
I
Gate.
think we all just forget
Was,
about
yeah.
that.
The
Yeah.
great,
Can't wait to bring that character to life.
the great 1 a.m. letter writer.
Where we let our fans down.
Cool. My third game,
Round us out.
Final Fantasy 16,
Yep, cool.
which,
More medievally one?
yep.
Yeah.
I kind of just want, I don't know, like, I went through the whole list of everything. What I realized is my most anticipated games I'll learn about a week before they come out.
Sure.
Or it suddenly appears on Game Pass. That's actually the shit
Yeah.
that
Like
I...
Inscription, you get an email from the developer and be like, try my game. And you'll
Yes,
be like,
I'll
this
be
is
like,
it.
all right. But going through everything, I really want to love a Final Fantasy game. I keep trying. The one I got closest to was not 15, which I thought it would be.
7
Was
remake?
Remake, yeah,
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed. And I haven't finished. And probably
Neither
I'll
have
try
they.
to finish this weekend. You are on fire today.
Am I?
You are. Yeah, you're doing great. But yeah, 16 looks cool. And just, I don't have much else to say about it other than I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
Yeah, me too. I was so hype about 16 because of the medieval fantasy stuff. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, Sword and Board me.
Yeah.
I'm in. Like, it's an easy in for me.
Because we're coming from Boy Band in Cars,
Boy Band in
right?
Cars.
Boy Band and Cars.
Yeah, so that's a...
But then we've had remake
of...
combat in between Boy Band and Car and
Yeah.
Sword and Board Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also very because I'm very exposed to Final Fantasy fandom now through my experiences with 14, and from my understanding, the writers of 16 have
was the other
produced
thing.
some of the best story content that people fucking froth
That was
over.
I knew that. Thank you.
In 14,
I
yeah.
knew there was another reason why I was drawn to this, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What is it? What is it? It's that. It's the writers of the good shit in 14 and writing 16."
Are writing 16,
But
yeah.
back to the dampener on all of this.
Sorry, yeah,
Which
yeah.
I believe is that writer, and I may be attributing this to the wrong person.
Problematic?
Was like, yeah, but we don't want black people in the game.
Japan has a long way to go where that stuff is concerned.
like, just like a really, like, there was a long interview where this
That
person
sounds
was
like
just
the last thing he said before he
doubling-
walked out of the room. Also, and everyone's like, yeah? Oh my God.
It is a culture
doubling down
to be
on-
celebrated, and
my
it is a wonderful country. But there are some very archaic, backward, just like gosh.
Yeah.
That was
Australia's
It's
racist, but there are some other countries that rival the racism that we
Yeah,
That's
for
what
sure.
happened.
Yeah,
as well, so.
yeah. Okay.
yeah. There was just like
Dampener
such a
effectively applied.
yeah. I know. What a piece
Yeah,
of
I
shit.
remember that interview. That sucked.
Just quickly, though, it is lovely that you're
My
like...
other option was going to be Hogwarts Legacy.
Ooh.
And it's hard because like the Final Fantasy 14 community is so it feels so sex
so
positive
gay.
and so
Yes,
and they've
totally,
really leaned
totally.
into that, and they were like, okay, we get it. You wanna be a dude and be able to wear lingerie, fine,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do it already. And they're
Yeah.
just like, thank you. And so it feels weird that they haven't
I already
taken that and just run with it. You know?
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just going to say,
weird.
also, you're like, I'd just love to love a Final Fantasy game. It does feel like going in and absorbing yourself in that world, even if the game isn't great, they're such epic games that you just need to commit and keep going. And I feel like that's what I saw a lot of people do with 15. Be like, it's not the perfect game, but I'm having a lot of fun, so I'm just gonna.
I really hope that there's just, and this is so dumb. I just hope there's not a lot of filler, which is so stupid to say about a JRPG. But it's.
That's what I mean. You'll persist through it because you're like, I want to like this one.
Like remake is so good.
Definitely
There's just,
will be.
The thing that I fell off with remake was there were lots of times where it was like, in between all this epic shit, it was like, all right, I'm just
They're in
gonna
the
need you to
market.
run around this town for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to
that's
cook 8 meals.
that's
Put
going
me
to
on
be
the
in there.
motorbike again,
You
come
need to
on.
expect as much of that as possible so that you can be pleasantly surprised if there's even a smidge less.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, set my expectations through the
because
floor.
that's like
In a series
that's
that-
core to the
A
experience.
series that famously bucks expectations by calling itself, this one's the Final Fantasy.
This is the
16.
So the games we're looking forward to. Peter has Diablo 4, Star Wars, Jedi Survivor, and Dead Island 2.
Correct.
Gus is looking forward to The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom,
Correct.
Atomic Heart, and Resi 4 Remake. Stephanie is excited for Redfall, Destiny 2 Lightfall, and Baldur's Gate 3.
full.
And Nick is excited for Alan Wake 2, Lies of P, Final Fantasy 16, and Hollow Knight Silk Song. What games are you excited for in 2023? What games are coming out that are going to get pushed? But right now, they're achievable. They're at the edge of our fingertips and they're ready to be played probably in February. Let us know in the comments. Lightfall's coming out in February as well.
Wait, what?
It's literally Redfall, Lightfall.
Let's just leave all the presents wrapped and we'll have another Christmas in
Two
February.
of yours. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That would be such a tease for the final ep of the year.